Beautiful. Okay. Well, this is just an incredible way to come into Unity of Hagerstown today. I'm so glad that you all are here and in Facebook land. Welcome. I have this beautiful introduction for this lovely couple. Armand is an award-winning songwriter and inspirational speaker whose enthusiastic presence inspires us all to love life passionately. Angelina's heart-opening and angelic voice draws from many languages. She was classically trained at Indiana University and was formerly with Epcot Center. They are international performers using songs, stories, and humor to remind us now to open our hearts and remember that we are meant to experience heaven on earth. Beautiful. So, with that, let's just all settle in. I'm going to do a little opening prayer today. We can breathe into our spirit, opening our hearts for all the wisdom that will come to us through this service. As the raindrops fall and water our planet, and we gather together on this beautiful Sunday morning, expressing ourselves in love, in gratitude, in abundance, and in all the things that we want to manifest happening before us as we take our steps along the way. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this opportunity to be here, to be well, and to hear from this lovely couple as they bestow this incredible wisdom and beautiful music today. We are honored, and so it is. All right. So here, let's say together our mission statement. Unity of Hagerstown, a welcoming community, embraces spiritual awakening through affirmative prayer and meditation, creating a positive path of abundant living for all. And today we have the Daily Word with Amy. She's going to make her way up here. Thank you, Amy.
Okay, so our thought for this morning is simplicity. Today I give thanks for the simplest blessings, the small things that bring a smile to my lips and a warm feeling to my heart. A hug from a friend, a cuddle from a grandchild, or stroking the soft fur of a beloved pet fills my awareness with love. The sudden lift I get seeing a favorite person's handwriting in the mail, or the thrill of spotting a rainbow after a cleansing rain shower spark lasting happiness in my heart. These things and more remind me that true contentment is found in life's smallest moments, the everyday treasures that comprise daily life and draw me close to God. I focus on these simple blessings and grow in gratitude for my life's many gifts. And here's a quote from Psalm 144. Happy are the people to whom such blessings fall. Happy are the people whose God is the Lord. And please join me in the phrase that's up on the screen. I pause to appreciate life's simplest blessings. And take a moment for that to sink deep down into your heart. And repeat it again. I pause to appreciate life's simplest blessings.
Thank you. Okay. So, with that, now, let's get up and say hi and honor everybody's chance to say no to a hug, but hello, we love each other. Greetings. Let you know that this system isn't going through to the Facebook, so we'll leave this on, and if you would like like to, when you're doing your lesson, somehow use this microphone.
Okay. He's going to do more talking than I.
All right,
So
okay.
I'll make sure his isn't going through it.
Right, the system, yeah. But they can hear it if I leave this on, and it echoes nicely. So we got it. Okay. Is there a bell? Oh, looky here. I love that. I need that for my classroom. All right, everybody. So as we go forward, we are again blessed with Armand and Angelina, and we welcome them up to the stage. Thank you.
That's me making weird sounds. You know, the universe reminds me now and then not to take myself too seriously. So I just was alerted something that I was not aware of before, but it makes sense, especially with what's happening there, is that our sound system is not going out streaming. So I'm going to be using this microphone for the talk that we do, and then we'll use our regular microphones for the music. So people in streaming land, I tell you what we could also do. We could put this microphone on a mic stand and then in front of us, in front of the speaker, and then it would really work. Okay, so we're gonna probably do that. That's a great idea. Okay, and then you'll have. Now let's see if this mic is working.
All right.
Okay.
Does that work?
This mic work. This mic is not working.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so let's. Here we go. Tell some stories real quick.
Okay, I will tell a joke. Okay. So this is why don't Buddhists vacuum in corners? Because they have no attachments, right? So we're a little attached to this sounding just right. So we're going to let go of our attachments and yes. Okay, this isn't really a spiritual joke, but it's a joke I tell kids. Why did the cookie have to go see the doctor? It felt crummy. So, hurry, Armand, I'm bombing you.
So no, you're not bombing, sweetie. You're not bombing. She's the classy one. I'm the funny one. So she has a little more trouble with humor, and I have a little more trouble with class. But I have to say, we have met so many people whose name starts with an A today. Was there a memo that your name had to start with an A? We have Anne.
Amy.
We have Amy, Armand and Angelina. There's a lady that went downstairs. We have Arnie. What is your name? Aiden?
Andy?
Andy. So we got a lot.
All right.
Okay, let's see what we got here. We're going to try this. Okay, we think we're okay. So let's open. This is going to be a perfect opening. This song is called Make Peace. Because I don't know about you, but if you wait for peace to happen on the outside and for everything to go exactly the way you want it, you're not going to be in peace very much. By the way, Miss Ann, is that working in front of the speaker like that? Great. Thank you for that great wisdom, my beloved beauty. And so instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now, because that's the only thing you have 100% control over, especially if you drive on I-95, which we did. We left our home Friday, and we were on I-95 almost the whole way, and it's exciting. Okay, we'll teach it to you, and then hopefully you'll join in. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth. Make peace within you now. We got it, honey. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. If every journey begins with a single step, I'm taking my first step now. If we are to be the change that we want to see, I'm changing myself now. Always a good place to start, the one in the mirror. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Like the Macarena, we got hand movement. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. All right, there's some Macarena going on back here. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Yeah. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Yo, 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 don't wait for peace to come. Be the change you want to see. Gandhi said that, yo. So yes, we weren't streaming when we were here in 2018 or 2019 when we were here last, so that's awesome. Awesome to be here with you and know that we're reaching millions of people all over the world. That's exciting. I got to tell you that we played a lot of churches, and I want to say beyond a shadow of a doubt that of all the places we've ever been to, today is the most recent. And I just wanted to make sure you understood that. Okay. So we're delighted to be back. We're not exactly sure why Reverend Sandy is here. We're not sure if it's because she needs time away or she doesn't want to have to explain me to you. Either way, she took care of us absolutely beautifully, hooked us up with this wonderful farmhouse with Ann, which is just absolutely delightful. Thank you. By the way, did we see a little baby donkey? They're little miniatures. We fell in love with donkeys during a movie called The Banshees of Inisherin, if anybody saw the donkey. That donkey stole the show as far as I'm concerned.
We don't necessarily recommend that movie, right?
Right. He wasn't the only donkey in the movie. But yeah, anyway. Sometimes, Eckhart Tolle even said something about movies and stories that are kind of dark. He said sometimes it's very good to see how not to live. And that movie, more than just about anything we've ever seen, taught us how not to give in to attachment and ego. So from that standpoint, it's like watching one of those old soap operas. You feel better about your life. So at this point, we're going to move into meditation, if that's okay. Is that a normal time y'all would do this around now? Oh, you're awesome. So we're going to do a chant. Peace I am, peace in every moment, peace in every moment, peace I am. We'll do that a few times, help to get you in a relaxed state. Sometimes while we're singing or chanting, we get out of our head and get into our heart. Peace I am, peace in every moment, peace in every moment, peace I am. Peace I am, peace in every moment, peace in every moment, peace I am. Peace I am, peace in every moment, peace in every moment, peace I am. Peace I am, peace in every moment, peace in every moment, peace I am. And we invite you to breathe those words in as a reminder to quiet the mind, relax the body, and trust in the peace of God. As we quiet the mind, it can be helpful to bring our attention to our breath, become the watcher, the observer, the noticer, noticing the feel of the breath as we inhale, maybe a slight coolness on the nose. And as we breathe out, letting go of what no longer serves us. Maybe feeling a bit of warmth. Making space to breathe in more life-giving air. So much of our life is automatic. It can be helpful to bring attention to the simplest of things, like the breath. Quieting the mind, we begin to notice the still small voice of God becoming amplified. Reminding us that all is in divine order, that all is well, even and especially when it doesn't appear that way. Allow the music now to take you on your very own sacred journey into the peace of God. Very gently now, begin to bring your attention to your physical body, your chair, this sacred sanctuary where we come to remember the truth of who we are. One with the Christ consciousness, one with God and all that is. Thank you, Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God. And so it is. Angelina will now lead us in the singing of the Lord's Prayer, and I will speak the Aramaic. Abun de Boashmaya. Nita Kadash Shmach. Tete Malkuta. Nechwai de Savinach. Washmaya, O Baracha, Haulan Lachma, Nesunkanan Yamana. Klan Halbain, Aikana Dafnan, Shwaken El Hayabain, Ula Talan, El Nisyona, Ela Pasana, Mingisha. Laki Malkuta Uhaila Utishbokta La Alam Almin Amen. We invite you to breathe these words in, these words given to us by our great way shower, Jesus the Christ, reminding us that we were meant to experience heaven on earth right here, right now. And so it is. Our message today is, I now pronounce you not guilty. I don't know about you, but I haven't always felt innocent. Even from my early church days, Angelina and I grew up in a very similar church. We're both 3/4 Catholic. Okay. And one of the things I most love about Unity is it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter what you believe now. It doesn't matter what your twist is on how you experience God. You're welcome here. Truly an inclusive spirituality versus an exclusive my way or the highway religion. Now, what I learned early on in my childhood was you were born in original sin. Dr. Phil would say, how's that working for you? It doesn't feel good to think that you, this beautiful, innocent, angelic child, was born in original sin. And I'm not saying that's wrong. It's right for the people that want to believe that, but it's not right for me, and unity does not teach that. Okay? We have to learn, as difficult as it can be, to allow people to believe and think the way they want. Makes it even more difficult around family reunions. You know what a family reunion is, right? Where you bring a covered dish and an unresolved resentment. So when I found in unity, I gave up church for about 12 years because it just felt too dogmatic to me. I just wasn't living that truth. I felt like a hypocrite going when they were talking about stuff, none of which I believed, or almost none of what I believed. And I left for many years, and then one day a young man told me, he says, look, Armand, I went to this church the other day, and they sounded like you. They talked about weird stuff like you. I said, I doubt it, but what's it called? He said, well, it's called the Unity of Fort Pierce. Anybody ever heard of Fort Pierce, little town in Florida? That's where I went to high school. And so I said, okay, I'll go. And I walked in, and the minister had a tie on, and there was pews, and I was immediately turned off. But then I went in and I sat down, and I heard unity principles. And I got to do a meditation where we got quiet. And every part of me felt alive for the first time in many, many years. And they were talking about something totally different. They said, you were born an original blessing. And that felt really good. It was like this salve that I'd been crying out for all these years, feeling like I was untethered and didn't have a spiritual home. Well, that was in 1984, and the rest is history. And then I met Angelina at her church, speaking in 2000, and the rest is herstory. And we've been doing this. And so these teachings are everything to me. And even though I'm different from the way I was growing up, I love the idea that unity, it embraces it all, and you can take in things you learned from other religions and bring them here now, and use them in the unity teachings, because the unity teachings are big enough. It's a big enough tent to bring in other teachings and other ideas into it. But the whole idea of our divine blessing, our innocence, our beauty, that intrigues me, because that's what I most need to work on. There's an old saying, you teach what you most need to learn. Okay? And so I do. They also say you write books about what God's giving to you, for you. Now, one of the things I don't like is when people use the pulpit to self-promote. I'd like to read something from my book. I wrote a book since I was last here. I don't think we had this when we were here last, because it's pretty new. So this chapter is called Faith in the System. Everything will be okay as soon as you are okay with everything. And that's the only time everything will be okay. Michael Singer, the author of The Untethered Soul, wrote that. Faith, F-A-I-T-H, stands for feeling all right in the heart. Feeling all right in the heart does not mean we always understand everything. It doesn't mean we don't get confused. Anybody get confused? It just means that, as John Lennon said, everything will be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it's not the end. Exactly. Being confused is okay. Thinking that there is something wrong with us for being confused is the problem. And that only comes when you get confused about how awesome you are. That was a paradox, okay? I think sometimes you need a paradox because you need a second opinion. Okay, some of you will get that joke later tonight. By the way, groans, ma'am, are not only welcome, they're encouraged, so thank you. So, as Byron Katie says, or do we have any Byron Katie fans? As Byron Katie says, how do you know if something happened the way it was supposed to? Because it happened. It takes all the guesswork out of it. You don't have to understand it. Somebody said to me just the other day, but Armand, good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people. Isn't that true? And I said, yeah, it's true. You have to understand it. You have to just have to know that it happened. It was supposed to happen. It's done. What can you learn from it? How can you be different? Maybe you can do something to make a change. That's good too. That doesn't mean you're not accepting what is. It just means you're seeing something future. You know, the optimist sees things the way they could be. The pessimist sometimes sees things the way they are and gets stuck there. The pessimist says, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. The optimist says, no, it isn't. It only appears that way because we're ascending. See, it's all different. The pessimist little boy wakes up in the morning on Christmas, can't find any toys, and all he sees is a big pile of manure in the front yard, flips out, gets depressed. The optimist little boy says, I know there's a pony here somewhere. Or donkeys. It's all the way you look at it. Somebody says, oh, you're one of those people, you don't look at any negative stuff. You pretend like the cup is half full. I say, no, unity doesn't say the cup is half full. Unity says the cup is half empty and half full. But where are you going to put your attention? You're going to put your attention on what's not working the way you want? Or you're going to get out your inner flashlight and start looking for what you can't see right now? Now, even if you don't do that, you're still going to find your good, okay? That's called grace. But you're going to find it a lot quicker if you're looking for it. So Angelina and I, the minute we see lemons, we get the sugar out in the water. We're like, let's make some lemonade.
Exactly.
And there's been a lot of lemons in the last few years, a lot of lemons. Really difficult for me as an entertainer performer. Angelina's more of an introvert, but as an entertainer performer, very difficult for me to be stuck in the house for 20 months. And probably very difficult for her to have me stuck in the house.
It was not. It was not.
She says no. But, I always tell people, I say, my wife is a wonderful wife, and she takes care of a special needs teenager. Same person, And so it's yeah, thank you. You are really, she has to deal with a lot, and she does beautifully. And so
Armand, you keep me entertained and on my toes.
Okay, well, good. That's a good way to say it. So let me tell you a little something that I got this morning during the meditation. While I was leading the meditation, Spirit gave me this idea. What I believe happened with my microphone today, when I come into a church, one of the first things I do is I set all the microphones up, and this is wireless and this is wireless. So I do a frequency scan. And the frequency scan looks around for what's available. It tells me what's available, and I set the mics up. Somehow between the time that I did that and the time that I got on stage, somebody else wanted to use my frequency. And so mine wasn't working with the other frequency. So all I did was I changed it, and I did another scan, found out what was open, and changed it. But I thought, isn't that a lot like life? We're kids. We go a certain frequency. We go a certain way. Everything seems to work out. And then we get older, and that way of living, that way of thinking, that way of being, that spiritual path, that relationship changes. It needs a new frequency. But we tend to not like new frequencies. We want to stay on the frequency we're used to, okay? There's an old saying, if I can remember. What's
attachment.
That? We get attached, right. What's that old saying? People would rather the misery of, how does that go?
I don't know.
The misery of certainty than the they'd rather have the uncertainty, anyway, something like that. They'd rather have the miserable of what they know than the fear of what they don't know. There's a saying in there somewhere. And it does that. Squirrel. ADHD boy, you never know where he's going to go. But anyway, so that's the challenge. And so all I had to do, Angelina helped me, got the mic set up, change frequencies. Anybody had to change some lanes that they've been in over the last 3 years with people that they've loved for a long time? I can't believe how many lanes had to shift. I had to get off some roads altogether. Roads with people that I had been on for over 20 years, 40 years. The roads didn't work anymore. Our cars couldn't drive together anymore without crashing. Heartbreaking. But you know what's more heartbreaking? Staying on the road and continuing to crash all the time. And that's what my nature wants to do. Let me tell you what a great lie is that hopefully none of you use anymore, because I used it most of my life. A great lie is, if I'm having relationship problems, I haven't done enough. Anybody ever believe that? That's a bad place to be. I really believe it. That doesn't mean you don't do all you can. But to always put that pressure on you like it's your job to always fix the relationship when somebody else is not willing to meet you there. And sometimes
that can be from like childhood messages that we get from like our parents or whatever. Like mine was always, I got to be perfect. Perfect for daddy, and if I'm a 2 in the Enneagram, which is a people pleaser and a caretaker. So I felt if I did good things to other people, they would love me. That's the message somehow in my childhood I received. And so there's a healthy way to be that way and a non-healthy way to be that way. But we get these messages that kind of puts a cover over our innocence because we're trying to be something that's not really truly good for us.
Absolutely. And so I love the idea of changing lanes. Ideally, you wouldn't have to go down a different street, but sometimes you have to. It's just not healthy. And the same thing with certain illnesses. I'm not a fan of surgery. I don't want to do it. Okay? But sometimes you have to have something surgically removed because it's going to destroy the body. And relationships can be that way too. You have to have a relationship surgery because it's going to destroy you and them. Or the more fun way is to find a new lane that works. I have this one friend, and whenever we talk on the phone, if it's more than 30 minutes, all of a sudden, it's not fun for me anymore. I don't know why. It starts to drain. So we make a deal. We're going to talk for 30 minutes or less. And then things work. As opposed to me always feeling terrible and saying, I'm going to talk for an hour or more. It's finding a lane that works because you are divine and you are beautiful. Now, we did get messages when we were younger that were not healthy, that we carried into our life, old frequencies that need to be readjusted. Okay, so anybody ever heard of a guy named Greg Bear? His series is called Real Love. So he has real love in marriage, real love in parenting, real love in dating, all that kind of stuff. But it's all based around this one simple premise. All we really want is to feel loved and lovable. Everything else comes from that. We want to feel loved and lovable. When you feel betrayed, you feel unloved and unlovable, okay? That's the same thing. When you feel rejected, you feel unloved and unlovable. What parents tend to do that is not healthy for them or us and grandparents and friends and everybody is we tend to take out our frustrations and disappointments on the people that we believe caused it. And what Greg Bear says that does is it creates more discomfort and unlovability in the world. Because what we hear is one more message. What we heard from our parents often was, you are good as long as I'm not inconvenienced. If I'm inconvenienced, you're a bad boy. Okay? And that sends a message of conditional love. And to me, that's what unity teaches is unconditional love. You are unconditionally loved by God no matter what. Okay? Now, one thing unity will not teach in general is that you have a limitation. But I'm here to tell you, you have a limitation. No matter how hard you try, how many books you read, and whatever you do, you cannot be unlovable. Who's tried? Come on. Come on. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, you cannot be unlovable in the eyes of spirit, in the eyes of God, in the eyes of your own higher self that knows that truth. Okay? But what you can is you can believe you're unlovable, and that will often have the same result. You've probably heard it. We don't always get in life what we deserve. Believe me, folks, if you got what you deserved, you would have heaven on earth all the time. I tricked you. If you got what you truly deserved, you would have heaven on earth all the time. But we get what we believe we deserve, and there's a difference, because it's usually not the magnificence that we were born to have. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little quick story. We'll go into a song afterwards, but I want to give you a quick story that really, really touched me. Well, you have a wonderful story about the garden party by the swimming pool. How about that story?
All right. So if say you're with some friends and you're sitting by a pool and you're talking, having a great time, and someone is in the pool and they splash water on you. So you're like, okay, that's I'm not going to really say anything, but I didn't really enjoy that. And so you're talking again, and now they splashed again more water on you, and you're getting a little bit, unhappy.
And they're kind of making a lot of noise and disturbing you too,
Right.
aren't they? Yeah.
So it happens one more time, and now you're really mad. So you turn around to go say something to this person that's splashing water on you, and you realize it's a child drowning, and he's trying to get out of the water, and his splashing is because he's needing help. Well, all of a sudden now your energy shifts that this person is needing help. He's not trying to make me angry and do this to me. And so if we can remember when people are drowning in anything, just use the word drowning, like that person's not very kind to me or others. Well, he's drowning for love, for unconditional love. And then you can kind of shift your belief pattern or your thinking on that. And if you feel not strong enough to be around that person, you can leave. But if you feel strong enough to be around that person, you can stay and communicate or do whatever you need to do.
And it's not healthy to get in the water and let them push you down, because they're going to be, anybody ever had somebody push them down while they were drowning to some extent? It doesn't feel good, and it's not good for them or you. Help from a stable, safe place. Now, let's say that you're not in a safe place, stable place. And here's a good example. Let's say you have a 15-year-old grandchild or child that is learning to drive. You're there to teach them, and you want them to start just in the driveway. You want them to open the garage. You want them to go to the back of the road and then put the brakes on right when they get to the end of the driveway, and then put it into drive and come forward and practice their braking. You want to help them that way. And one day, they smashed through the garage door because they forgot to open it before they went back in. Now, in that moment, you're going to be emptied out to some extent. You're not going to be in the most loving parental place you've ever been in. And Greg Bear calls that you're in a position of drowning, or you're in a position of not being filled up. So you don't want to go to that kid and say, what the hell's wrong with you, even though you're thinking it. You want to go to another friend. You want to say, first you say to the kid, Dad's having some problems right now with what happened. I know you didn't do it on purpose. I love you. I love you as much now after you broke the garage door as I did before you broke the garage door. We'll talk about it later, but I got to go get filled up because I'm having a problem. Then I go to my friend Andy. Andy, I want to kill my kid. Now, when I go there to Andy, Andy can be empathetic to what I'm going through at the time. He says, yeah, I think I might feel some of those same feelings. And what Andy does by talking to me is he helps me fill back up. I fill back up while realizing it's metal, it's plastic, it's cables. That's my kid. And I get in a place where I'm filled up. And in a place where I'm filled up, then I can have a talk where I can say, still love you just as much. Sorry you're going through whatever you're going through. We're going to talk about some consequences, like your allowance for the next 30 years. But I love you. I loved you before. I love you during, you after. Obviously, you know what you did, and you know we're going to move on from this. But we don't often do that. If you're triggered on Facebook, turn off the app until you're untriggered. You may have to go back on and say something, but say it from a place of filled up. So, and what you do when you do that is you remind yourself and others that people are still lovable even when they do crazy stuff. And you're still lovable even when you do crazy stuff. Anybody did some crazy stuff? Okay, I'm going to tell you what a great teacher told me on this movie I saw on Apple TV one time called The Sky is Everywhere. Has anybody ever heard of it? So it's kind of a weird, independent kind of movie, but it had this one great line that I'll never forget. This little girl, her older sister, who was her everything, passed away suddenly. I don't even remember how she did, but it was not good. This little girl was ruined. She was about 13, 14 years old, and she just was ruined. She couldn't get it back together. And then she was behaving in the way drowning, unfilled up people behave, and she was doing terrible things to her friends. And one day she went to her uncle, which I think he was a unity guy. They didn't say it, but he was very wise. Kind of a hippie dude. Yeah, man, peace and love. And so she said, I want to tell you about something I did, and I need your advice. What if I did something really, really mean, really, really bad, really, really hurtful to somebody I love, really bad? He said, I'll tell you what to do. And she was ready to get scolded. He said, don't do it again. I think God sort of has that attitude with us. Don't do it again. You need some teachings to help you not do it again? Pray, and I'll tell you. Meditate, and I'll tell you. But don't beat yourself up for an eternity over something that you can't change anymore. Go make amends. I changed Shakespeare's quote a little bit one time. Squirrel. And it was, to err is human, to make amends divine. Because I noticed that so many people in the last, I'm going to say 7 or 8 years, have got this idea that if you say, I did something wrong, it means there's something wrong with you. And it doesn't. It means you did something wrong. Have you ever noticed people can't apologize anymore? They somehow think that's a sign of weakness. It's not. It's a sign of strength. So, we were watching this Oprah show one time. Anybody used to watch Oprah? We used to tape it on this thing called a VCR. You young people out there in cyber world won't know what that is, but it's a box. You put a thing in it. Anyway, we used to tape Oprah and then watch her at 9 o'clock after dinner. That was our time because she came on during the workday. So we were watching, and there were 2 young men, both of which had been in prison for like 10 or 15 years. Both of them got out of prison because of DNA testing, and their innocence was proven. Innocence was proven. So she had them on the show and blah, blah, blah. And they both said the same thing that freaked out Oprah, Gail, and the audience. They both said they had confessed to the crime. And they were like, what? How could that happen? And I immediately started weeping. And Angelina goes, what's going on? I said, because I can relate. We've all, to some extent, confessed to a crime we didn't do when our parents and our teachers told us that there was something wrong with us. We were the wrong, our brain didn't work right. We were the wrong color. We were the wrong height. We were the wrong weight. Whatever, some kind of we were the wrong orientation. We were the wrong gender, whatever. Something where people said there was something wrong with us right where we were. And if you get interrogated and told something over and over and over and over again, one of 2 things happens. You either get confused, maybe they're right, or you just say, you're right, just to shut them up. And these men had confessed to this crime because they had gotten confused enough, and they just wanted it to be over. Because, in law enforcement, this is not to put down law enforcement. Law enforcement wants to get to the bottom of a situation as quickly as possible so they can move on to the next situation. And they thought these men were guilty, and they said, if you just admit to the crime and confess, then we can set things up differently and be a little lenient with you and move on to the next situation versus this back and forth. Well, DNA testing proved that they were innocent. This is the song that I wrote after watching that Oprah episode. It's called Innocent. And I'm going to sing it for you now, and then we're going to move into our offertory time. his prison time for a crime he did not do. He gave a false confession, and when they asked him why, he said, I did not know the truth. He was innocent. I thought about my own life, how I was like that kid when they told me I was bad. I offered my confession to what they said I did, and lost a childhood I once had. I am innocent. I did nothing wrong. I've been serving time for this crime for way too long. I am not to blame for what I didn't do. There is nothing I need to prove. I am innocent. We are innocent. This is the time for justice. We're finally here to get it right. You know why? We're finally hearing the whole truth. I fired all my juries and got the pardon I deserved. And now I'm free, other inmates too. You are innocent. You did nothing wrong. You've been serving time for this crime for far too long. You are not to blame for what you didn't do. There is nothing you need to prove. We are innocent. We did nothing wrong. We've been serving time for this crime for way too long. We are not to blame for what we didn't do. There is nothing we need to prove. I am innocent.
You
are innocent.
Who you are is so important.
We are innocent.
You deserve so much love.
There is nothing we need to prove. I am innocent.
You are amazing.
You are innocent.
You are perfect in every
We are innocent. I now pronounce us not guilty. So it is. Thank you. And now a word from our sponsor. And thank you, Anne, for making all this work wherever she is. I know she's had to move on.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, that was just amazing. I've learned a lot. Thank you. So let's say the quote up here together and take this moment in. I dwell in the infinite presence and express the highest degree of love, joy, abundance, and peace. Beautiful. And here we are with our offertory, and the greeter will bring that around. Let's say this too. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, PG. Thank you, Mother, Father, God, for the abundance in my life. Thank you, honey.
Couple of choruses here real quickly. So love, make me an instrument of your peace. Love, make me an instrument of your peace. Love, make me
isn't it? Our little dance. Well, let me also remind Facebook that you can make a donation online at our website. So thank you all very much. We do have some announcements. On Tuesday, we have yoga here at 6, and at 7:15, it's followed up by a stretching class, and Sandy Morell leads us. It's a really nice time. It's meant for all fitness levels. On this Wednesday, we have our sound bath at 7 p.m. That's a beautiful way to come and experience inner peace and love for yourself. On the 5th, we are mulching at 8:45. We'll be weeding a little bit and taking care of the area, the grounds here, which are lovely. And we need some participation with that. Bring your gloves and a little dandelion digger and whatever you can to help with that. On the yeah. On the 13th, we do have our day retreat, and Ann, I believe that's at the farm, right? So we are going to have a really cool day, and we may even stay later and have a little happy hour after that. Sandy has a wonderful, wonderful whole day experience planned for us. On the 20th, we're going to talk to Arnie about picking up the trash along our route here on Route 65. You are welcome to come to the church and participate with that. He has the details. What time do we report, sir? 8:30. We're here at the church, and we have everything you need to do that. On the 10th, we're going to do a hike. Sandy plans to do the 10K. More power to her. And if you'd like to join us, there's all kinds of different lengths of the trail or the hike we can do together. So with all that being said, you can see all that on our website. And also Armand and Angelina have this beautiful display in the back where you can purchase their CDs and instruments, and you can also go online for that. And we have a website. Is that right? Would you like to tell us your website?
ArmandandAngelina.com. Clever, huh?
All right. We hope to see you there, and we hope to see you at one of our great events. Thank you, Facebook. I think that's it for Facebook, okay? And now we get to hear another song.
So, 2 other announcements. Today at about 12:40.